This guy is nuts. Is he really making daily recordings of his possible divorce and releasing it as a podcast? They both cheated on each other? She's making 6 figures and still doesn't contribute to any joint endeavors financially? Why is she still with him? Why is he still with her? I can't wait for the next episode. This helps me be a better wife. So this is how men think. I hate my husband less now. I understand my wife more now. These are some of the listener comments to the Divorce Diaries podcast. All over the map, I know. These anonymous accounts of events should resonate with anyone that has been married, is married, or is preparing for marriage, and helps couples avoid pitfalls as they might prepare for marriage. Entire seasons are released on Patreon weeks before anywhere else. At Divorce Diaries Podcast Patreon page. Link in description. Now for today's episode.
I'm on my way back home now. And just another realization point. I didn't realize how much I loved my wife. I didn't realize how much she did for me. I didn't realize how much I did for her. And I also didn't realize how much we built together. My wife and I found each other in high school, and against all odds, we actually met. She met a man that would knock her up and would also take care of that obligation and her. Not like it was some sort of business transaction, but I looked at us as a family. The moment she told me that she was pregnant, I just kind of Little House on the Prairie that shit and decided that I don't even know if I can call it a decision, because it wasn't really a decision. It was just like, no, this is like what the fuck I'm gonna do. Like, that's my baby. And the reason I'm in high school and I'm making love to this girl is because she's my baby. And the reason that, I think I did ask her, so I'm scared, and I'm in like the 10th grade, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like, what are you going to do? Like, are we going to have an abortion? Because I was very, very, very fearful. Which is understandable. You're a 16-year-old kid, and you're like, I'm going to be a dad? Are you fucking kidding me? And you find out that you're going to be one. And you're at a crossroads. Not my responsibility. Not my job. Not my thing. Not my nothing. And we had a son. Man, a really great kid. The fucked up part with him was he was such a great kid that I kind of thought that the kid would be, I could maybe make him something better. He was already perfect, so I'm just trying to squeeze more perfect juice out of that perfect orange. But I'm 17, 18, 19 years old. Like, what the hell do I know about being a dad? Let alone what do I know about being a fucking man? Like, all this shit is new to me. But this is Divorce Diaries, and I mean, I think I'm very much headed for divorce right now. I'm looking for an apartment. And I'm leaving our space, and I'm going to find something new for myself. And my wife doesn't want me there anymore. And she has every right to, because it took me too long to realize everything that I needed to realize. Like, my wife actually wasn't the bad guy that I made her out to be. My wife was actually the voice of reason. My wife was the soothsayer. My wife was the balanced perspective that I wasn't. And my man strength, my maybe even my man privilege, my man strength sort of pushed down her where she should have maybe been empowered in a way. I was just flat out not a receptive person to all of the awesome, reasonable suggestions that my wife had over the years. Maybe you shouldn't talk to our son like that because maybe he might interpret it this way. Maybe you shouldn't do this or that. Maybe you shouldn't be as hard as you are. Maybe you should understand that everyone around you is working hard. Maybe you should understand that. She tried to tell me what maybe I shouldn't do. And I was just flat out too hard-headed to understand or respect my wife. And let's be honest, it wasn't really that I was really hard-headed. I literally thought I was better than another human being. One of the most horrible things you can do is think that you are better than another person. And that's what I did. I didn't realize, and my marriage is about to fall apart. And I guess I would ultimately say bigger than my marriage, my family is about to fall apart. I didn't realize what my wife and I built because I was a dysfunctional, horrible. If you haven't heard of the Enneagram, I'm an Enneagram type 1, and we tend to seek perfection, and we tend to look for flaws in everything. So I ultimately looked for flaws in people. Then I also looked at flaws in myself. I also looked at flaws in everything around me. And I would take pride in confronting things very directly. Like, hey, if I was doing something wrong, I would love for someone to tell me exactly what I was doing wrong, exactly when I did it wrong. So, like an idiot, I thought that everyone else was wired the exact same way. So, I would tell my wife, the closest person to me, what she was doing wrong. And to be honest with you, it wasn't even like she was doing anything wrong. It was just she was doing things differently than me. But I made her feel like she was doing something wrong. I don't know what sort of resentment that might breed or toxic thoughts, perspectives, whatever from my wife. And I ended up getting what I got. I tore my wife down so much that she maybe looked for comfort with someone else because of my years of relentless torment toward her. Boom, done. Affair. In the past, and I would look at things because I look at it from a man's point of view, and I say, as a man, well, if I were to have an affair, which I did, I would say, no, it was because I wasn't getting this, so I would do that. And then I got the perspective that, one, men and women are different, but not so different sometimes. And as far as my wife was concerned, she was getting disrespected from her husband. So she was looking for respect, or what she thought might be respect, from someone else. Affair. So to be honest with you, I'm not saying that I don't blame my wife, but I'm also not saying that I do blame my wife for her affair. I understand how that affected me, and I understand how it affects men, and how it's a very significant hit to your ego, and it really, really breaks your heart. And I'm not saying that it doesn't break the heart of a woman when her man cheats on her, but as a man, it's sort of a protectee relationship. Sort of a, we're together and I sort of provide for you and protect you, and you're sort of like, yeah, you provide me and you protect me. So it sort of just kind of hits differently when a woman cheats. But as a man, for me anyway, I should have made sure that my wife felt like she was the most important person to me, so she didn't go anywhere else looking for it being important. If I could go back, which I can't, I would do many, many, many things differently. I wouldn't have made my wife parched and thirsty, where she felt like she needed something from someone else. Because now, as it stands, where she doesn't want anything to do with me, I have expressed, or at least acted like, I wanted so much more from things that were outside of her. So now she just has the feeling that, one, I always lie, or she's not good enough, and she'll never be good enough for me. And the fact that right now that I've had a total shift in perspective, because she's just like, I'm done with you. Get the fuck out of here. We're over. I'm like, wait, what do you mean? I love you. And, from her perspective, she's like, I don't give a shit about what you say to me. All I know is I have loved you, and I've protected you, and I've done whatever she feels like has been ethical and great for me. She's done all of these things for me, and I've repaid her with lies, covertness, snooping, whatever. And she's just like, look, you don't love me. I don't care about what you say. I care about what you do. Full disclosure, I've had a good bit to drink, and I'm recording this podcast. So I'm being very honest, and the only thing I'm really focused on is not naming names to continue to stay anonymous with this recording. But I've been a really not good husband. And I'm now laying in the bed that I made for myself. I have a wife that doesn't want to have anything to do with me because I have been a no good husband. I mean, not totally no good. I provided a great life for my wife. I've protected her. She's been, spending money the way that she would like to spend it. And I've just been a safety net. So I've enabled a little bit. But none of that excuses what I've done as far as making her not feel good. Who the hell wants to be in a relationship where they're with someone that doesn't make them feel good and that they can't trust? She gave me so many years, and I made her feel bad about so much. She would do, let's say, 10 things good, one thing not so great, and I would just harp on that one thing that she did that wasn't so great. Why did you say that? Why did you spend money on that? Did you really buy that mug? We're trying to save money. It's like the thing's $7. Why do you care about $7? Oh, well, yeah. Well, I care about $7 because $7 adds up and she bought 4 of them. What do you mean? You're trying to become a millionaire? You give a shit about $28? Either way, if you extrapolate it out, what is your deal? Why are you complaining so much? Why don't you just have a conversation with your wife and say something like, hey, I'm really trying to hopefully get us to, $100,000 saved in the next 3 years. I think we could do it if we put in this much money into this account. Can you do it? And just see if she does it. That way I could say, I tried. I talked to my wife about responsibly saving and setting up an automatic allotment or whatever. And if she does it, great. If she doesn't, well, then we have to talk again. But I don't get to say hey, let me control what you do with your life, because Lord knows I wouldn't want anyone trying to control me and what I was doing with my money. And maybe the paradigm shift needs to happen with the perspective of marriage. Oh, it should be my way or the highway. Maybe so. And if that's the case, then maybe that type of man should marry that type of woman that wants to figure that out. And maybe there needs to be a legit, official premarital counseling process or premarital sort of matchmaking process that has to happen. But if you just come up with these arbitrary rules like I did along the way without talking about it, what do you expect except unhappiness, miscommunication? And ultimately now, my family's, I'm being honest, man, my family's gonna fall apart. I'm literally looking for apartments now, and I'm going to be living by myself, and my family's going to be somewhere else. Fuck, man. It's fucking rough. It's fucking bullshit. I'm not going to get to be there with my youngest kids. My wife literally told me the other day, she's like, you're the father of my kids and nothing more. I'm driving home now and I feel nothing but emptiness. So remember, if you go back to what is a man? What is a man supposed to be? How does a man feel comfortable? A man feels comfortable providing for his family. So that means he has to have a family. And then if they're going to be happy with him, he needs to not make them feel bad or make them distant. I have made my family feel bad and feel distant. I have the means to provide for them. But because I've made them feel bad and distant, they don't want anything to do with me. And I can't fault them because I've always had a good heart. But I've had really, really bad actions. My family may never hear this. And I have other ways that I've been communicating with them to let them know exactly how I feel about everything. But all I can say is I love them all. I don't know if I'll ever have a relationship with any of them again because of all the damage that I've done and all the hurt and pain that I've caused. But I do know that I am truly sorry, and I understand what I did to them. I understand that it comes from a lot of hurt and pain that I am going through and have gone through from my family. And I want very much to end the cycle of pain and destruction. I don't know if I'll ever get that opportunity. But I want to be there, and I understand that as painful as it's going to be when they want to go down the list of things that I've done that are horrible, I'm just going to have to stand in there and say, like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Kids are special. They're precious. They're sweet. They're pure. And it's up to us how much we're going to fuck them up on that road to life that they've got to drive on. I love my kids. I miss them. And I wish I had a do-over. And with kids, that's just one of those fucking things, man. Like, you don't get to do over them living their lives. You don't get a do-over. When you fuck it up, you fuck them up. And man, I fuck mine up. Don't fuck up your kids. Try your best to listen. Cry openly with them. And very quickly, if you find yourself crying openly with your kids, get yourself into therapy so you never do it again. You, above anything else, need to get your shit together because they need to see what a together parent looks like versus a parent that, quote unquote, needs therapy. We all need it. Make no mistake that we need therapy. And even if you get therapy, you may not have the right therapist, but you can't parent another person when you're so fucked up. And if you are so fucked up, which most of us are, it's okay. But you better be in therapy.
Wow, that was the Divorce Diaries podcast. The Daily Saga will continue tomorrow. The full season's episodes are on Patreon now. Subscribe for early access. Click the Patreon link in the description. Hopefully these entries help our anonymous recorder as a form of his own personal therapy. That's his hope and his intention. Will these recordings of life's curveballs lead this family to the best resolution in the end? We'll keep listening. New episodes are released daily on all podcast players, but all episodes are available on Patreon at Divorce Diaries Podcast Patreon page. Until next time.